On.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the Milk Round, Castlemilk Youth Complex's very own podcast. We bring this podcast out every Thursday on our YouTube channel, which you're probably on just now. So if you can like the videos, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell for notifications. Me and Chris do this podcast every week. I wasn't here last week, so somebody else filled in for us. Darren filled in for us and done really well. So big shout out to Darren. Thanks a lot for filling my space. Think I might be out of a job soon if he keeps going that way. But so you can get us on our YouTube, and then we've got lots of different social medias too, which Chris is going to run through for us just now.
So yeah, on Facebook it's Kelly Youth Complex Staff, on Twitter Youth Complex CYC, Instagram youth_complex, TikTok is Kelly Youth Complex. You can chuck us an email at cycyoutheteam@gmail.com, and you can also catch early audio-only versions of our podcast on themilkround.podbean.com. And it's funny that you should say that, Lee. So it was actually last week was episode 10.
Yep.
And you decided to celebrate so much, you just didn't turn up.
Aye. That's I was enjoying myself that I forgot about it. I was away on holiday, if you want to call it that. So I went away twice in the week because we're not getting a summer holiday because of COVID. We're not actually going to go away out of the country. So we were still in Scotland. First place we went was the Gledock Hotel. It's like a spa and golf resort. It's just in Langbank near Port Glasgow. So we done 2 nights there, and then my mum booked an Airbnb for the family for my dad's 50th in Beeve in North Ayrshire.
Okay.
So we went there for like half a week. But both really enjoyable. But I'm glad to be back on the podcast and talking a lot of nonsense as per usual. Probably boring people to sleep. So aye.
Not based on our viewing figures, Lee. There's tens of people out there that are definitely listening to us.
Yeah.
At least.
And the views are going up as well. So thanks very much, guys, for watching our videos. Just if you can, just leave likes on them as well, and maybe even share them on social media. That would be a great help. So I was away. Darren came on, done great. He spoke about like how kids are going back to school full time.
Yeah.
And then he was pretty decent at the quiz as well.
He was very decent. We might have a contender for the championship.
Yeah.
So
that belt might not be in yours in your hands for much longer.
Once he was very he wasn't so confident going into the quiz, but after he came out of that, he was ready. He's ready for challenging me for that belt, to be quite honest. So
I have to say, I'd done the quiz along with you guys, and I didn't fast forward to the answers, but I got all of them right. If you were to give me a second chance at the Buffy question,
a second chance, or did you need the second chance as well?
Yep, because I said the same answer as him for the first.
Oh, right, I see. Yeah. So I suppose I think it's that kind of 90s show is set in, and you're immediately, that is the first one that comes. And then I kind of did that question sneakily later on.
Aye.
Referring to the characters. So
the wee red herring almost for the first part.
It was.
So that was great for the podcast last week. But apart from that, what have you been up to?
Not a great deal. I had some company over again at the weekend. So what we've been doing, normally what happens when we move into a new place, we'll just have a big party.
Yeah.
And that'll be us, and it'll be great. And we've had to rethink that strategy with everything else that's going on. So what we're having to do is we're just bringing our friends in like small portions. Each or every other weekend. So so a few of my other friends from the band came in who hadn't seen the place, and we had a few libations, let's say. But it was very respectable. We were packed up and in our bed by 12:30 midnight.
That's decent.
Which I thought was very respectable.
Yep.
You know?
Aye. Well done to you.
So I did have friends over a few weeks before that who like us like to have a wee libation now and then, and that was like a 3-4 in the morning shot, that one. So,
wow.
So that was a sleepy over one, I think, for them. So so this was far more respectful.
Right.
Yeah.
So you guys settled in now then? Is that you?
Oh, we're still getting there. We got to the stages. So what happened is some of my other friends kindly offered for me to store stuff at theirs while we were doing house viewings.
Yep.
And this was before everything kicked off in the world. So that stuff has basically been in their house for almost 6 months now, or 4 months, let's say. Right. So that is us finally collected everything. So it's just trying to find places to put it. You think you've got a nice tidy house, and then you just
everything else comes back. Oh, I forgot we had this. And you're bringing, and then you're buying another power washer, and because Darren said it's all right.
It's not happening. No. That, if anything, with greatest respect to Darren, he almost kind of confirmed that I made the right decision, because he was just like, "Oh, I thought we were getting another one that could be out there cleaning. It's great." And I was just like, "No."
I know. I wonder if there's like power washing forums or something. It sounds like there's a wee clique or something. He was talking about it. Oh, we've got another one.
Yeah,
one of us.
No, I think that can keep for another 10 years.
Aye. Push it back.
Least. Yeah,
push
that's
it back. Did you get your haircut as well?
No, look at this.
I didn't know if it was just a slight.
Taller than the screen. I did, after 6 months, I'll just get a trim. No, I made a mistake by saying that, because I thought it would have been cut by now. It's actually tomorrow I'm getting it cut. So by next episode, I'm going to have a restyle, darling, you know?
I'm going to be the same. I'm getting mine next week. So episode 12 will look a wee bit more presentable. I know podcasts are more like a listening thing, but for you guys watching it on YouTube now, while we upload it to YouTube, hopefully not got a mop on top of my head.
Well, I'd been like kind of up to a certain, when we started these podcasts, I'd just basically be going like that, right? Hairspray. And it kind of covers it up a wee bit, but actually it's now at that stage where it's like, there ain't enough hairspray in the world to cover the fact that this is way overgrown. So I'm just letting it go wild now. Do you know what I mean?
Cans on it, like kind of grease style, Danny's across.
That's it. Aye, like with the big, hey baby.
Brooke's been doing mine a wee bit just at the sides, but
she's
not a barber or a hair like stylist, so I don't want to touch it up.
No, I've not done a thing. I wouldn't let my wife near it.
No
chance. Big shout out to my wife, an avid listener of the podcast.
Very much for listening and watching.
So I can't insult her too much on this.
Or we'll lose a listener.
I'll lose an arm as well.
So that's been our weeks. Pretty busy weeks for both of us. Pretty enjoyable weeks. Anything else happened?
Not much. I see they're still running. We're still running the lockdown lunches, but it rained off the other day because it was yesterday, I believe. It was absolutely torrential. But they were still open for takeaways and stuff. So rest assured, we do try to keep these things running in whatever way we can.
I think when this goes out, the last one would have been the day that this goes out. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that would be on the Thursday.
And enjoyed it, but it's unfortunately maybe some people are saying, but maybe a good thing. We're back to school next week, so
no.
To look forward to. So that brings us on to our section that Darren done quite well in last week, because he managed to promote his own wee video that's on our YouTube channel. That was good of him. And it's what's on my telly and what's in my belly. So who wants to go first for this one?
Oh, I'll go first with what's on my telly, and then we'll hand over to you. So I mentioned it was one of my previous recommendations. So I'm now currently on the last 2 episodes of the latest season of The Umbrella Academy. Thoroughly enjoying it. We're recording this podcast an hour earlier to accommodate for me seeing the last 2 episodes tonight. So I'll tell you how it got on. But I was thinking about this one, and I haven't recommended it, but I really should, because it's amazing. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I'm going to put it out there. And I totally acknowledge that some of the Star Wars films that have been out in the last few years maybe haven't been up to the standard of previous Star Wars films. So I'm going to go a wee bit aside and recommend our first live-action TV program, The Mandalorian.
Okay.
It's made by a guy called Jon Favreau, who is big in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He plays the character Happy. He's like the sidekick for Iron Man, for But he also has a really good directing and creating background. So he directed the first Iron Man film. So he has created the Mandalorian. It's kind of like, it sits nicely between. So Star Wars originally was meant to be a Western in space. And that was what the original films were kind of in the style of. So if you look at the first film, A New Hope, it's very much that, the two droids out in the middle of the desert and stuff like that. This is very much of that ilk. It's very much a Western in space. It starts off quite slow and it starts to build up. The episodes are quite short. I believe they're only about half an hour an episode. So with the exception, maybe the last episode's a bit longer, but I believe there's only about 8 episodes or something like that, maybe 8 to 10 episodes. It just restored my faith in the Star Wars franchise. I must admit, I was getting a wee bit, this isn't so good. So with the exception of like The Mandalorian and some of even the animated stuff, which is very good as well, the films really haven't been good enough, let's face it. With the exception, maybe The Force Awakens was decent, and it just all kind of went away. But you don't have to be a fan of Star Wars. That's what I'll say for it. It stands on its own. There's no kind of like required knowledge before going in to watch this. So you can just get into it, and it stands up on its own as a really good watch. So yeah.
What's that on? Is that on Disney Plus?
So it's on Disney Plus currently, yeah. So if you've got a Disney Plus subscription, you can just join it there. Season 2 is already in the works. When it will come out, who knows? When anything's going to come out these days, who knows? But so The Mandalorian, it will restore your faith in Star Wars if your faith has been waning a bit on it, if you haven't seen it. I trust that probably there isn't a Star Wars fan out there that hasn't seen it yet. So, but I'm talking about maybe people that aren't really
new to the franchise, maybe.
Yeah, that's it.
I have never really been big on Star Wars. I went to see Phantom Menace, and
it's not a good start, that one.
I was 4 years old. I think it came out in '99.
That's a bad film. It's one of the worst as well.
And it has the most hated character as well, and Jar
Jar Binks. He got a hard time.
So 4-year-old me kind of just went.
They lost a generation with that, even those, because the second in that, the Clone Wars, get slightly better, and actually the last one, is it Revenge of the Sith or something like that, was decent. It was decent, but they'd already lost people by that point. The Phantom Menace was poor, with the exception of the Darth Maul fight. It was pretty poor, to be honest. So, but this is worth watching. Just even you don't need to like Star Wars. Just go and watch it. It's a good show. It's got the guy. I'm not going to ruin it too much, but if you watch Breaking Bad, the guy that played Gustavo Fring, which was the main kind of kingpin drug lord, who's one of my favourite actors. He's been in a few things. He's got a prominent part in it. That's all I'll say.
Okay. And that's where Baby Yoda originated?
In The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not too much of a spoiler, because that's been so out there on the internet. So many memes out with that. And that character's pretty revealed very early on in the series. So you've not spoiled anyone saying that. So.
I'm glad we're not going to have to edit or bleep out.
No.
I loved your famous bleep. I meant to bring it up earlier.
I know. Do you like it? I couldn't find something, so I just went and recorded it.
It was great. Me and Kirsty were laughing at it the other day.
I thought it sounded, in my head, it sounded bleep, but it probably did sound bleep.
We'll try and get a button for that one next time. Or we can, in fact, it's quite original, so I think we should just keep it as your bleep.
Yeah.
So that's what's on your telly. So what's on my telly is a Netflix show, accessible to all ages, I would say. It's a reality show. It's an Australian dating show, but also a kind of, I would say, educated me, because it's called Love on the Spectrum, and the people who are in it are on the autism spectrum, and they're trying to find love. They're trying to understand what love is, understand what relationships are, and for a lot of people who are on the spectrum, that's a very difficult thing, because it's hard for them to read body language, it's hard for them to read facial expression, it's hard for them to keep a conversation going as well. It's 5 episodes just now on Netflix. Hopefully there's going to be another series after it, because the people on it are just so lovable. They are great personalities. Honestly, you'll be laughing, you'll be crying, and I just really enjoyed it because it's something that taught me as well. Because as a youth worker, it's important to know about the difficulties of people who are on the autism spectrum. Sorry, I'm stumbling a wee bit because I'm trying to use the right terms as well. So you learn a lot of the right terms through this show as well, which is great. 5 episodes. I think they're 45 minutes each episode, and it kind of follows 2 or 3 people on the spectrum going on dates. There's some couples on it as well, and it's just talking about how they met, and really enjoyable. I would recommend it. So
it was when you were saying dating show there, I was a wee bit like, really? But now you've explained it, I'm like, well, that's actually quite a valuable thing to watch, and for people to know about it as well, you know.
I think it'd be a great thing to actually show in the complex, maybe at one point, even one episode or some parts of it. And like the people in it, as I said, they're great personalities, but they're so funny sometimes. And sometimes they mean it, and sometimes they don't mean it. It's brilliant, honestly. They're just really likeable people as well. And I think the cast and crew are great with them. Their families are so supportive, and you can see that when they're being interviewed. So I recommend that. It's a 9 out of 10 for me.
Wow, that sounds interesting. I'll have to look at that on
on
Netflix, you say?
On Netflix, yeah.
Good.
5 episodes. So that's what's on our telly. So you've got a bit of a good thing coming up for what's in your belly. So
we're going to try something new for the first time ever. We're going to try and we've got a function to share screen. So before I tell you, so I bought a couple of these spice mixes online, and it was make your own doner kebab and make your own Lorne sausage. So that's what's been in my belly this week, obviously. So I'm going to show you a wee presentation, and hopefully it's going to work. So just bear with me a wee second.
I thought this would be when you were online the other day on the Facebook. I spotted it, and I thought this will be Chrissy's What's in My Belly.
Yep, it has been on our social media. And I was surprised there's a few people that came out the woodwork to say, oh yeah, I make my own. I was like, what? Didn't realise it was so easy. So I had this spice mix that I bought, but I would probably try and do it from just using the spices in the cupboard. But this was like just normal beef mince. That's 20% fat beef mince. So this is for the Lorne sausage. I've added the spice mix there. Sorry, the photo's a wee bit fuzzy. And then you mix it thoroughly. You add some water, and you get it all kind of thing. And then you pack it into a loaf tin. I've lined that with like grease-proof baking sheet paper. And then basically leave it in the fridge overnight. And then the next morning, I had this, and I was like, that looks like Lorne sausage to me. So then I made it, and that's it in a top of a wee bit of bread. And it tasted pretty much as good. There's a few things I might try it from scratch. There's a few recipes online that use just spices out the cupboard, but from what I can gather, it's basically breadcrumbs, salt, and some herbs and spices, and that's it. And that's as easy. I had no idea that Lorne sausage was just basically that. Yeah. And then I'm going to go fly back to my other one. So the doner kebab was this. So this was same process, mix it all together, leave it overnight. But instead of slicing it off and frying it, I put it in the oven. You have to put it in the oven and cook it. Right. That was the full. I'd already sliced a bit off the top, and then that was it on the plate. And it tasted like doner kebab. That was probably the best out of the two to me. So the kids loved it. Absolutely loved it. So I'll try it again. I think I might try it and do it from scratch though, with the herbs and spices. So yeah, that's what's been in my belly this week.
Is it so can I ask you a difficulty level out of 5?
honestly, it is so easy. I would say that out of 5, it's a 1.5. See if you get the spice mix.
Yeah.
It's like a 1.5. See if you've not got the spices readily available. It might be a wee bit more difficult, but
Yep.
it's the same process as like making a burger from scratch or something like that. You're just mixing herbs and spices and stuff like that. One of our Facebook followers suggested putting a fried onion in the Lorne sausage mix, which I'm going to try because that sounds quite nice, you know.
So difficulty levels 1.5.
Not difficult at all.
Level.
Not difficult.
What's taste level?
The taste level, I would say, is probably about a 4 out of 5.
There we go. That's a good
4 out of 5 for the Donner, and about the same for the Lorne. It's a good like kind of money saving almost thing because all you're doing is buying mince, and this actually lends itself better to the higher fat content minces.
Right.
I would think, but you might want to try it with the lower fat stuff. You can have a kind of healthy Lorne, a healthy Doner kebab as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's mine.
Excellent. And their recipes are on our Facebook as well, aren't they?
They are, yeah. It's just speaking about the process, and if you look for the Lorne sausage, it's definitely on, and I chucked a link up for the place that sells the spice mix if people just want to buy it online. You can get it direct from them, or you can buy it on eBay as well. They've got an eBay shop, which is where I bought it.
Excellent.
I thought I'll just try it out, see how it goes, and it turned out really well. So
perfect, brilliant. So this week, what's in my belly? So obviously, like I was saying, I've been away for quite a while, and then we came back, and it was my girlfriend's birthday. Happy birthday, Brooke.
Happy birthday.
It was her birthday on Tuesday, so because we knew the family were coming up on the Tuesday, we went out on Monday, and this new government scheme started, obviously, Eat Out to Help Out.
Oh, yeah.
So you get like money off your food. So we've just got bikes, as I've said in other podcasts, and we've been cycling, things like that. So we cycled to the Quay, just the Clydeside, and wanted to get a Nando's because it hasn't been open, and the queue was an hour and 45-minute wait. So we decided, let's not wait.
That's a bit cheeky, is it not? Sorry. Had to do that.
So we decided, let's leave that, and we cycled back to Shawlands, and we went to see if the granary was busy, and it wasn't. It was really quiet. So we ate in there, and it was brilliant. I felt really safe and comfortable in the place because of their social distancing rules and what they've put in place. But the food was excellent. We've eaten in the granary a few times before, and food's been okay, like pub grub, it's like okay food. But this, I don't know if it's like new menu, new chefs or something like that. The food was amazing. So it was, we got a garlic pizza bread to share, which was brilliant. Not too much garlic, but just the right amount. And then I ordered the Southern Fried Chicken Stack, which is a burger of 2 Southern Fried Chicken fillets, and then lots of like crispy bacon on top. And then you can get like a barbecue sauce and things like that. And it comes with fries. But I rated the TV show 9 out of 10. I'm going to rate the food 9 out of 10 as well. And we got it for much cheaper than usual because of the government scheme. So
that sounds a bit like the freak burger that I was talking about last week as well.
I thought you'd appreciate it.
Two chicken fillets. Mine's had a burger in between those 2 chicken fillets, but still.
It was nice. Great. So I recommend trying granary out because not just because the food's so good, but because the staff are so good, and the managers obviously thought, right, we need to put these things in place for people feeling safe and comfortable in the establishment. So
I think it's also probably worth mentioning if people are thinking about going out for something to eat that a lot of the local independent places also are doing this deal, this Eat Out to Help Out thing. It was just when you mentioned Shawlands to me, I was just like, there's a place in Shawlands that I've been wanting to try that I've heard is really good, and it's got a really weird name. It's called the Dapper Mongoose, right? But the food in it looks absolutely amazing. Like, honestly, the food in it just looks out of this world. So if I am eventually going to brave it, I think I might go there and try it out at some point. But I have been in the granary before though, so it is good. It's quite nice. It's nice pub grub and it's a nice boozer. So yeah. Good stuff.
So, that's our section. What's on my telling, what's my belly? I think we went a wee bit longer that time, but I think it was important to go a wee bit longer that time for your recipe and things like that. And
Yeah,
I had to
put
pick
a
up the two things.
PowerPoint together for you, you know.
Aye. But also, what we usually do every week is bring a nice news story. I had your nice news story, and that kind of linked into like going back to school and things like that
Yeah.
last week on the podcast. And this week we've decided to do another one close to home. So Castlemilk Youth Complex have been working in partnership with Castlemilk Together and places like Castleton Housing and things like that during the pandemic to make sure that vulnerable people in Castlemilk and the wider community are accessing food or accessing funds where it's available if needed. And it's been great work from all the staff and all the organisations involved. And we've recently got access to a fund which allows young people, so it's called the Youth Emergency Chest Fund, and it allows young people between the ages of 16 and 25 who are going on to further education or employment to apply for a grant of up to £500 if you're living in the Castlemilk community. The grant can be used for college or uni resources like books, things like that you might need, like a laptop, an iPad, whatever you would need to take to your lectures. Living costs if you're moving away from home. You might need living costs to pay rent, things like that. Work experience or interview clothing. So if you need a suit or a nice dress to look presentable at your interviews, you can use it for that. Data top up to support studies or job searches. Travel costs, and there's also an availability for the Youth Stress Centre targeted package. So the Youth Stress Centre, which is based inside Castlemilk Youth Complex, have made up a package that this fund can be used for. So if you are going into future education or employment, go on to our social medias and ask us for an application form. So you can apply for up to £500, which is a great help as a student. Like, every little helps, I suppose. But if you just need £30, apply for it. If you need a bus pass at one point or a rail card or something like that, you can apply for as much as you want or as little as you want.
And it sounds like a great thing, because like if I know what I was like when I was going to like any like further education at that age, some places don't actually release like funding support until a few months into it, or in fact some people like myself at that age, you leave everything to last minute and you haven't applied for the proper funding, so you've actually not got any money to get in to go to college or university or to go to a job. So that sounds like a fantastic opportunity to bridge that gap, at least, you know.
Yeah.
So good stuff.
So if you need that, guys, just give us a shout on social medias. So what this kind of ties in with is our topic this week. When this week, the SQA gave out the results to young people all over Scotland who are sitting exams. Some people might not have got what they wanted. Some people might have got what they wanted and needed to get in a university or college or a job. So congrats to everyone who done well and got what they wanted. But what we are here to talk to you about is, you might have seen it all over our social media. You might have caught it because it's been shared so many times. I don't know if you know about one of the posts that has reached 105,000 people now, Chris. One of our posts. And it's the no wrong path kind of trend. We're trying to tell people that don't worry about how you got on with your exams this year. There's always a pathway for you to get in to what you want to do. Or you might find now that what you thought you wanted to do isn't the thing that you want to do now. It's crazy. At the age of 16, 17, 18, you think you know exactly what you're going to do, but you don't always. And we're going to tell you our stories and how we got to where we are right now on the no wrong path kind of trend. So, will I go first with my story?
Go for it, yeah.
So I attended Castlemilk High School. I left school in 6th year with 5 hires and an Int 2. So an Int 2 is like a Nat 5, I think, now.
Okay.
Because we had standard grades and things like that in 3rd and 4th year. I'd been working in the cafes and sports centres all over Glasgow. A company called Encore Catering. Other catering companies are available.
Of course.
But I'd been working with them since 5th year, just to get some money, like some pocket money. And then I had applied for 5 universities, like you do in your UCAS application. 3 were at University of West of Scotland, to do sport coaching, sport development, or sport and exercise science. And I got an unconditional for those 3 in about February of the year of my 6th year. Another one was the PE teaching course at Edinburgh University, which was what my heart was set on in 5th year. I needed to get a B at English to be accepted into that. So when I didn't get my B at English in 5th year, I got a C. I resat English in 6th year. I got my B in English in 6th year, and then decided I didn't want to go and do the PE teaching at Edinburgh. So some people might say, oh, that's a waste of time, but now I've got that B behind me, I can go back and do a postgrad in education to be a PE teacher because I've got my B in English. So things do change in like the matter of 6 months to a year. Like you might change your mind totally. So I went and done sport development at the University of West of Scotland. I've done that for 4 years while still working in the cafes, and also doing a wee bit of volunteering, coaching, things like that, doing sports things just to get as much experience as possible behind me, doing coaching badges, mostly in football. Then I got my Bachelor of Science degree with honours in 4th year. I graduated and I really struggled to get a job in sport. I applied for lots of places. I was getting feedback from, that's an important thing I would say to people. If you go for an interview and you're unsuccessful, ask for feedback. Ask them, where did I go wrong, or what can I do next time to make sure I've got a better chance at getting a job like this? Because I done that, and companies often phone you back and say, look, you're doing great, you've just not got the experience that we need, somebody else had more experience, or what you could do is try a bit of this, and then in a couple of years apply for the same job or something like that. So I was really struggling with getting employment in sports. I was still working at the cafes just to get savings behind me. And then a sessional post came up at Castlemilk Youth Complex. And I'd went to Castlemilk Youth Complex when I was younger, things like that, but I'd never volunteered or went through the volunteer trainee pathway. So I applied for the sessional staff, which is 3 hours a week. You're in 1 night a week, and I absolutely loved working there. Like, I look forward to it so much every week, coming in on a Wednesday or a Thursday night and talking to young people, speaking to them, realising what youth work was all about and how close it linked into my background of sport as well, and how I could use my background of sport to do youth work, deliver youth work to young people. So then I was doing that, still working in the cafes at this point. So I'd been working in there for about 6 years or something. And a youth worker post came up at Indigo Childcare Group. Indigo Childcare Group have nurseries, after school cares, and a thing called Indie Youth, which is also based in the youth complex. Some of you might have heard of that. I applied for the post, done an interview, and I got that. And I was a youth worker for like a full-time youth worker from then on out. And I just loved it. And I realised that I might go back to sport in the future, but for right now, youth work's the thing for me. And I'd never thought about youth work at school. So this trend of like no wrong path, like I thought I was on the wrong path because I wasn't getting employment in sport. But all my experience now in doing youth work might also help me in getting employment in sport in the future if I do decide to go back to it. So I've done 2 years at Indigo, and now I'm a homelink worker / youth worker at Castlemilk High School through Castlemilk Youth Complex, and also still doing sessional stuff with Castlemilk Youth Complex as well, and loving it. So if you guys need any help with applying for sport or looking to get some experience in sport in the community, I'm available. So just drop a message on social medias and ask for Lee, and somebody will pick that up and pass it on to me. But that's my story, and that's how I got to where I am just now, sitting on a podcast with the famous Chris Ritchie.
Oh, other Chris Ritchies are available. No, they're not. So, oh God, I mean, I think we could be here all night talking about how, kind of, the bits and pieces of how I got to where I am now, I suppose. But there's a lot of kind of similar things when you were telling that story there that I was just like, yeah, that was the same. When I was at school, I think I got about 6 standard grades and 3 hires in various quite technical subjects. So I had a few offers on the table from universities to go and do biochemistry and stuff like that. But by that point, the thing that had really grabbed me was music. So I'd applied to a few colleges to do, one was a music performance course, and the other one was like a music tech course. And you mentioned this earlier on. I didn't get into any of those courses that year, and I didn't want to go to uni. So I decided to work for a year and reapply to the courses that I wanted to do, basically. So that was quite a difficult decision at my age at that point. So I was like 17 at the time. So that's what I went away and did. And actually in that year, I ended up getting like a wee kind of job doing PA hire, which is like providing live sound systems for gigs and stuff like that, or more boring things like just, like public gatherings just for public announcement. That's what PA stands for. But in that year, I learned so much about music technology and stuff like that when the interview came round, I completely aced the interview. It was just like, yep, you're in, not a problem. So it was like, I think having the value of actually working in the field was really lucky for me. Then continued to, went to college, did that, got a HND in music and audio technology. And the time I was at college, I got given a volunteer position to work at the local recording studio in Castlemilk, which was called C# Music Factory, which was actually right in the shopping. It was one of the shop units in the shopping centre, right next to the Oasis bar. So maybe our older listeners might remember when C# was kicking about. They'd been going since the kind of late 80s, and this was, now we're talking the late 90s. The place was pretty much, there wasn't a lot of funding going on for the place, so we weren't really doing any formal community work at that point. And the person that was running it, his band was getting really successful, so he couldn't be there anymore. So he basically handed a 19-year-old me the keys for this recording studio. I says, and I didn't know how to, because up to that point I was only doing live sound and stuff like that, and going into recording production is a completely different scenario. Do you know what I mean? To that. But I would say, and this isn't a slight on the course I was doing, because the course was very good, I learned more being in that studio with that volunteering opportunity, basically having the keys, running, doing what I wanted in a lot of ways, working with bands and stuff like that. I learned more in that than actually the course itself. Got a few bands, some airplay and stuff like that on the radio, which they'd never had, and I'd never experienced that kind of level of stuff as well. So worked away in that sort of stuff, and music was going to be the thing and stuff. But when you're doing volunteering roles like that, it's great and it's glamorous, but it don't pay the bills. And we're now getting into age 21, 22, and it's time to move out of the house and stuff like that. So one of the guys that kind of came round to the studio was a session worker at the youth complex, Castlemilk Youth Complex. So here we go again. He says, why don't you, they know you work around here, and I'd accessed the youth complex facilities as a young person, mainly the music facilities when Fraser was the music worker then. And so I did have a relationship with the youth complex. So they came in, they gave me a kind of a tryout for a few weeks. And he said, yeah, great. So took me on as a sessional worker. And within a year of doing the sessional worker, I got a proper post in the place, which was like a kind of part-time post. And that has been me. I've been doing youth work for a hell of a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, that was from age 22. I got a sessional post, and I am now 40. So, and I never dreamt that I would work with young people. I never had one iota that that's what I would do. And I kind of fell into it, but I was good at it and enjoyed it. And hopefully the young people that I work with enjoy me working with them and stuff like that. So yeah,
important.
And yeah, there's no really. And recently, I will mention this. It's not something I'm going to mention it anyway. But recently, what I did is I decided to go back into education for a while, and I went back to go to uni. I didn't quite make it to uni. I make it through the whole uni process for various personal reasons. But I ended up walking away with a qualification still in a higher education, something certificate in diploma in higher education in general science, which my intention is, when both my kids finally go back to school, is to go back and top it up with an open university degree and go in. So my journey's still going, and I'm 40 years old. Things can change. It's ironic because I was offered the science courses back when I was 17, but it wasn't right for me at that point. But it is now. It's just weird. So there is no wrong path, and I'm a complete living evidence of that. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
So
it's a great story, and we're hearing a lot of great stories. Friends of the complex sending their pictures of their path that they went on, their journey that we went on. And I think it is good for young people to see that, especially with the way that exams might have went this year. This year's a really important one because of the COVID-19 situation. A lot of people might not be getting grades that they needed or wanted. So paths might change now, but don't think it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I think they're two good stories that we've came up with there, and two totally different stories as well, but both kind of have similarities. But I think you'd be the same. You'd be up for giving advice to young people who might want to get into music and things like that. So if you guys need that help, just give us a shout on social medias. And don't think about your grades too much, because education isn't always the thing that gets you to where you want to be. Like you said, experience is a massive thing, and working and going out there and finding your feet in the working world is just as important as a certificate with your name and a degree title on it, I would say.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's us on to the last part, which Darren kind of bossed last week. Done really well in, and it's the quiz. So I'm going to wrap it up with the quiz now. And I didn't really know what theme to do, because you done like a school one last week, and I knew we were talking about schools and that again this week. I thought I'll just go totally different and go for something that I'm really interested in. So it's a football quiz. No, I'm joking. I wouldn't do that to you. It's a League Two in Mexico. Who plays up front? No, I've since I was young, I've been strange this way. I've really been interested in learning all the flags and all the capitals of the world.
Okay.
I love geography and not having this knowledge. So what we're going to do is a capital quiz, Chris.
Okay.
How are you with capitals?
I'm not too bad.
Not too bad.
It just depends.
I'll ask you again after.
Depends if I know the answer.
The first five, I'm going to give you the country, and you just simply give me the capital city.
Sure.
The next five, I'm going to give you the capital city, and you give me the country.
Okay.
You ready?
Okay then.
Okay. Oh, in fact, predict how many you get out of 10.
I think naming the capital from the country might be more difficult than the other way about, right. But I'm going to give myself, as I am the champion, my championship belt's actually away getting polished now.
Is it?
It's getting professionally polished. That's why it's not here now. It's away. But next week it's going to be really shiny. So, right. And based on that, I'm going to give myself a 6 out of 10. Yeah.
It's a high prediction. Okay, let's go for it. I mean, you can just bleep over that when you're post-editing. 3. So the first one I thought was pretty easy. It's Ireland.
Dublin.
Right, 1. Mexico.
Mexico City.
That's 2. China.
Beijing.
Beijing is 3 out of 3. Egypt.
Cairo?
Cairo was 4 out of 4. And your last country to give me the capital city for 5 out of 5 is Canada.
Oh. Canada's a funny one.
Canada is a funny one because people think it's one of 3, I think.
Oh, I'm going to just go with one that's kind of left of centre because I know it is left of centre because it's not the one that you think is. Is it Manitoba or something like that?
What was your other one in your head?
Well, Toronto's the obvious, but it's not Toronto. I know it's not
Toronto either, right? It's Ottawa.
I knew it was some weird. That's why I went Manitoba, but Manitoba's quite rural.
5 more questions to go through, and you're already on 4. I think that's pretty good. You might be on your prediction. So, the next 2, I'd say, are pretty easy. So you should get to 6, I think. So, question 6: Tokyo.
Japan.
7: Vienna.
God, I always get confused with that one. Is it Belgium?
It's not Belgium, no. You know what I'm going to do? Because you were nice to Darren last week and giving him a second chance. I'll give you a second chance for this one. You were in the right continent.
I know that. I know.
I think this is easier for people who do actually follow sport as well, like follow football, because you watch kind of European.
I'm just trying to sing, Vienna.
Right.
Like mid-year. This
country in it.
So I've said Belgium. Dash and darn it. Try not to swear. No, it's not coming to me. That's why. It's in that neck of the woods.
Very famous man in history. One of the most recognisable faces.
I'm going to say Austria.
It's correct. Austria. Well done. We'll give you it. So that's you reached just 6 out of 7 questions. Very good.
Thank goodness for that. I've been to Austria as well. How dare I not know that?
Don't say that. Don't bleep that bit out as well. Question 8 is Riga, Riga.
Riga. Sounds kind of Eastern Bloc.
Right.
Sounds like... No, it's not. It's not Bulgaria. It's somewhere like that, though. Is it Latvia? Somewhere like that?
It is Latvia. Well done.
Wow. I really pulled that out there. I knew it wasn't the other one because, yeah.
That's decent. Well done.
Wow.
Aye. You're proud of yourself there. So that's 7 out of 8. Going into the last 2. Number 9 is Ankara. Ankara.
Ankara is Turkey.
Oh, he knows it? Well done.
It's a weird one.
It throws a lot of people off.
Everyone thinks Istanbul, but it's not.
Yep. It's Ankara. Well done. Turkey. So, 8 out of 9. Going into the last question. You've smashed your prediction. I think 8 out of 9 is brilliant. 8 out of 10 is brilliant. But the last one is Hanoi. Hanoi.
Is it Vietnam?
It is Vietnam. Well done, Chris. I mean, you kind of deserve the belt now. Who is it that's polishing it? Is it your wee boy?
What's that?
Who's polishing it just now? Is it your wee boy?
Oh, no, I'm getting a professional company in to do it. Yeah, absolutely.
I think you're deserving of it this week. That's brilliant. 9 out of 10. Some of the answers in there, though. I try to, every time I do a quiz, I try and make like some easy, some difficult for you, but smashed that one at the park, so well done.
I struggled with the kind of some of those European countries. It's like, what's that again? So, but yeah, there you go. So if Darren wants to challenge me, I'm here right now. and I ain't getting rid of that belt. That belt's getting polished up to rest on this shoulder. Listen there, Stuart. It ain't coming to you, pal. Right?
This is getting like a wrestling match, I think.
Oh, well, of course.
I think when the UFA opens back up, we'll have like a Battle of the Brains or something. And then it might turn into like the ICW wrestling match where it goes into that car park and all that.
We've got plenty of foldy chairs, so sign me up.
Aye, happy days. So there you go, Darren. There's a challenge for you if you want to come on next week or in a few weeks. Let us know. So that's us for this week, guys. If you can like the video, subscribe to our channel and ring the bell for notifications, that'd be great. Get us on our other social medias if you need advice with anything, if you want to ask us a question, or if you want to bring up a topic or be a guest on the podcast, then get us on our social medias, which are...
On Facebook, it's Kelly Youth Complex Staff. On Twitter, it's Youth Complex CYC. Instagram, Youth_Complex. TikTok, Kelly Youth Complex. You can email us at cycyouthteam@gmail.com, and you can also listen to early audio-only episodes of our podcast at themilkround.podbean.com.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for watching, guys. We'll see you next week on episode 12. Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye.